Hey, we had some Wi-Fi glitches on our own yesterday. So.
You did. We missed the best quote in Pederson history.
What I said?
I don't know what you're going to say.
don't
You
know.
don't know what you're going to say.
I don't know what I was gonna say.
We don't. We'll never know.
You'll never know.
We'll never know. It's that good, though.
I think you were just about to tell us who was calling plays. I think that's
You'll never know. You'll never know.
Yeah. It was just about to come off your tongue.
You'll never know.
Yeah, like an Applebee's commercial.
Reading off the menu. Yes.
You look at the trajectory for Trevor. He went through a 16-game stretch where he went 13-3, and now he's lost his last 8. How hard is it for you to kind of wrap your head around how quickly that changed, knowing that in 7 of those 8 games he didn't have one of his big weapons?
Yeah, I mean that's it's kind of surprising, obviously, and it's something you, for me personally, you try to pinpoint exactly what it is. Is it him? Is it the team? Is it injuries? Is it what is it? And I think it's everything. I think it's a culmination of everything, and something that we got to continue to work through. And look, there's going to be adversity in this league. You're going to be faced with it, year in and year out. But it's how you bounce back from it, fight through it. Because obviously, head coach, quarterback are going to get all the criticism, and we have to work through that together.
How would you assess that he is fighting? Because clearly this team, for whatever reason, has not responded well to adverse situations, at least in almost in the last year or so. How would you say Trevor is responding to this very tough stretch?
I think he's handling it really well. He's taken ownership in his play, which he should. He's not pointing a finger, or if anything, he's pointing it at himself. And that's where it has to start. And then you work from there. And he's really embraced that. And I keep just encouraging him to take the lead with the team. And sometimes you got to be vulnerable, right? As a leader. And especially when you're going through stretches like we're going through right now, and be honest with yourself, and can take the criticism, but at the same time, I see him, working in practice, working with his players, working with us as coaches. The communication is always at an utmost high, and you just slowly dig yourself out.
Do you feel like he's pressing at all during games, just trying to make a big play too often rather than going with the easy ones?
There's times I think you get kind of locked in there. You want to make something happen so bad that you kind of force an issue, and even as sideways as the game got Monday night, I think sometimes you just got to continue to, if it's not there, put it in play. If it's not there, put it in play. And try to work yourself back into a football game that way. And you're not going to get it all back in one play. And sometimes you can get caught up doing that.
Doug, I know every week's important, but just looking for your first win in week 4, do you amp up the pressure this week, or do you kind of, treat it as another week, another football game?
Well, I mean, obviously our sense of urgency is heightened, obviously, at 0-3. I mean, that's not where we want it to be. And now we're facing a really good Houston football team on the road, and it doesn't get any easier. So I don't think I have to say much, obviously about these types of weeks. It's a matter of, continuing to trust our process and the standard we've set here, and continue to work through it.
With the depth on defense being a little bit in question, obviously Tyson on IR, now Foye potentially out on Sunday. The hockey shift rotation that Ryan wants to run, how challenging is it?
Well, it probably doesn't get as challenging as much as now it becomes a little more black and white. The guys are going to be in, the guys are going to be in. I think the rotation up front's been really good for us, as far as, giving guys opportunities and much needed rest throughout the game so they can be healthy in the fourth quarter and fresh in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, I mean, we know injuries are a part of the game. Next man steps up and performs, and whoever's in has to play.
Is that one of the things when you said Monday night that everything's on the table, and in self-review yesterday? I know you kind of hinted at it yesterday on Zoom that this kind of, lent itself, unfortunately, for better or worse, that this was one of the things that would change.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it, and And you know, we look at everything. I look at everything, and you know, I don't think you just go and you just make change to change. I don't think that's necessarily the thing you need to do because it's still early in the season. But you know, I think we have to, you know, take a strong look at you know, all the possibilities, whatever they might be, and
Working now.
go from there.
Do you make any changes this week? I mean, after seeing the first couple of weeks of the season, do you make any changes to try and, I guess, rattle the team, spark them?
Maybe.
Would you share those changes?
Probably not.
Speaking of those rotations, on Monday, Parker Washington seemed to have a few more snaps in the game. Gabe Davis a little bit for Christian Kirk. Was that a plan going into the game, or did that just kind of happen in the flow of everything?
No, it's part of the game plan. I mean, you know, we know who Parker is, and he, you know, coming out of camp, felt comfortable with him going into the, you know, this year, and so we got to get him in a game more, you know, and it's just like the you know, defensive rotations. I think it helps us offensively, but and then late in the game, you know, when things got, you know, a little crazy there, just giving him an opportunity to go in and perform and play.
Is it easier to flush a game like that than maybe like a week 1 loss where you feel like you should have won?
Yeah, because I just feel like it's, you know, it's not who we are, you know, as a team, and I think the guys feel that same way, and it's easier to flush games like that, you know, than sometimes those hard fought, you know, losses that could have gone either way.
You said it yesterday, and I assume a couple players said it, the same thing, but you said no more rah-rah speeches. Was that kind of your message to them? We're done talking. It's time to go play?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's good to have them. You know, it's good to have at times, you know, player-only meetings, you know, which teams do and players do. But look, it's, you know, it's that time too where you just got to go play. You know, you got to go coach, you got to go play, and you know, you can talk after.
You start worrying about the confidence of this group?
I mean, no. I think the confidence is still there. I think the confidence is high. I do feel that. We have to just focus in on us internally and just keep things nice and tight. Eliminate the mistakes that are happening, and you know, try to play your best football.
A little bit off subject a bit, but next week Tom Coughlin's going in the Ring of Honor. As a player or coach, when you faced a Tom Coughlin coach team, regardless of what the talent level may or may not have been, was there always a characteristic in a team that Tom coached that was kind of standard every time you played them?
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of obviously playing. I was on teams that played, you know, when Coach Coughlin was here, and then of course when he was in New York. They're going to be physical football teams. They're going to be tough-minded football teams, and you know, it was one of those games where, you know, as you say, you had to wear your big boy pants to work that day because it was going to be a 4-quarter, you know, battle out there on the field.
And has Tom ever given you, or in conversations you ever had with him, any advice about the job?
Not so much the job, just I think from him and just putting things into perspective. You know, for me, it's you go through a tough stretch like this, and you know, he'll send me a picture of a sunrise. You know, the sun came up today, type thing. You know, and just little reminders like that. And you know, he's gone through adversity as a coach, and it's great for me to, you know, lean on guys like that from time to time, and just kind of get a sense of, you know, how they worked through it, you know, and I did the same thing with Coach Ramil, you know, in Philly, and just two great coaches that have a lot of experience.
Did he send that to you yesterday or today, that sunrise, or is that?
No, it's been in the past, but those are just things that he'll do, and just little reminders like that.
Trevor said after the game that we're not good enough right now to survive, you know, an early, you know, opening up with a 3-and-out. And I'm just wondering, do you sense that this team is at a stage right now where they have to play from out front? Because, you know, it just seems like slow starts have just
Yeah, I mean, you know,
sabotage them.
yeah, any time you can get out to a faster start, or score early, it helps. It helps with confidence. It helps with, just as the game unfolds, and anytime you can play, with a lead early, it helps you in the second half. I mean, statistics will show you that if you can score early and often in the first half, it lends itself that you could win the game, in the second half. So it's just not what we're able to do right now, and we've got to somehow, fix that and try to score, at least stay on the field in that first drive.
Is there any previous experience that either you or someone else in that locker room has gone through like this that you guys can turn to? Is there any sort of inspiration that you give examples of?
Well, two examples I've used in the past. Obviously, in my first year in Philly, we jumped out. I think we started 3-0. I think we were 4-1 at one point, and then lost like 5 in a row, in Philly. And then back in Kansas City in 2015, I think it was 15 or 16. No, it was 15. We won our first game of the year, and then lost our next 5 in a row. And then we went on a run, I think 10 or 11 in a row after that. So, I mean, look, it's not the end of, anybody's season. Obviously, it's week 4. We just gotta figure out a way to just play good football. And obviously right now, the tape shows that we're not, and we've got to fix that.
Is Boye an IR candidate?
I don't think so, not at this point. Yeah.
And then I assume that's Ventrell's the next guy up.
Yes.
How does he look in the time that he's played? I think he's played all 3 games.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's got valuable snaps. Played good the other night. Played physical. Obviously there's some things we can clean up, but he's really done a nice job. Yeah.
You spoke about staying on the field. On Monday, 2 of 13 on third downs, 1 of 4 in the red zone. Based on your review of the film, is this something more reflective of something that Buffalo's doing? They're playing dominant defense. Is this something more reflective of us? What did you attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, a little of both. I mean, they're a good defense in the red zone, but a lot of times too, when you get in the red zone, it's execution. It's just your execution and doing your job. And right now, we haven't been doing that well enough. We've settled for way too many field goals in the first couple of games, and we've got to find a way to flip that and score touchdowns. But and then of course we've had some turnovers. But it's more internally. I think when you're looking at yourself and what we can do better as coaches to help our players, in those red zone situations.
Doug, you mentioned internally a couple of times through this where you think the problems are there. This team's been together for a few years. You've been with this group for a couple of years. How frustrating is it when these sort of problems keep popping up? The offense hasn't really changed, and you're seeing these, I guess, internal issues where you're saying we got to communicate better to guys that have been here for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. I mean, it's just we've been together. The bulk of us have been together, for a while now, and just things that we've got to eliminate in order to play good football. You can't keep making those same mistakes, and as coaches too. I think I put it on coaches as much as players too. I mean, we've got to do a better job of preparing our guys and showing them every look possible in practice. And mistakes. Listen, mistakes are going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen, but we've got to minimize them in order to have success.
Brad, do you think this team's psyche is in terms
Brad?
of, like something bad happens that they don't automatically say, here we go again?
Well, I mean, that can definitely creep in. I don't think I don't think we're there. I still see glimpses of good football, out there from time to time, and we've got to lean on those moments. We got to learn from those. But it just takes one play. We're real close to creating some takeaways, defensively. We've done better protecting the football in the last couple of weeks, but it just takes, just finding that one play. Maybe that'll spark your team. So I don't think the psyche's bad or in that frame of mind yet.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.